Well, welcome back to the Scoreboard, where we now get into the second part of our show. And here we talk to the people who matter, the people who run the sport themselves. And this time round, we're talking about rugby. Like I said, please interact with us. I am at Bernard_sports, at KChege_sports. The question is, what would you like KRU, Kenya Rugby Union, to do for rugby? Let's interact and let's hear what you have to say about that. But Alexander Sasha Mutai is the chair of rugby. I think they should change that to president of Kenya Rugby. All our other associations are calling their top bosses president, not chair. It sounds also very demeaning to say chair. So we'll call you president for today. So Sasha is here. First of all, congratulations for having taken over at Kenya Rugby at a time when I think a lot of people were getting psyched, especially with the rugby leadership. But that didn't bother people much as long as the Rugby Sevens team was winning. But now it is losing. Now the rugby team has been relegated, and there's been a lot of emotions online, more so from the players who have been there before, including Dennis Mwaja, including Humphrey Kayange, including all those people who have been there before, and also the fans and the Kenyans in general. Kenya has been relegated. This was coming. This is not news. It's just that it's been broken to us that it has actually happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while coming, and unfortunately. And well, you're talking about Humphrey. Humphrey now is on the board. He's in charge.
You brought him onto the board?
He was elected.
Okay, he was elected
on the board,
okay.
And he's now the director in charge of Sevens.
Okay.
So it's been a long while.
You were once director of Sevens.
I was director of
Sevens. So we'll talk about what happened that time that probably is not happening now, you know?
Yeah, so it's basically the lack of investment that's happened with Kenya Rugby in the Sevens team. And I think there were a lot of assumptions. We were nearly relegated a couple of seasons ago. We've been at the tail end. I remember now, like in 2012, 2013, Kenya was top 5. We had gone into semi-finals of Rugby World Cup Sevens in 2013 and in 2009. But all that is now gone. We won the Singapore in 2016.
We won the Singapore Sevens, which was massively big,
yeah,
and that put the belief in Kenyans that we are good. Now, we're not even talking about a change in probably the technical aspects of the game, because the game has evolved, and we are probably playing it the old way. But that's not even the question. The question is it the leadership? Is it the playing unit? What? Because this has been going... Unfortunately, for the past 2 or 3 years, there's been no information coming from the office. Nobody knows. The journalists did not know what was going on. Whoever was there closed themselves in, did not let anybody in. They did not come out for any interviews. They did not give any information. So what was it? What has brought Kenya down, according to you?
So it was just the lack of investment in the team and in rugby in general. You see, we lost a lot of sponsors starting from 2014. Companies like Safaricom left, Bamburi left. We were lucky to get...
There must be a reason, Sasha, why
Kenya Airways left.
There must be a reason why they left.
Yeah, there was problems between the board that time, some members of the board and the sponsors.
There must be problems why they left. Yes.
So there was a lot of attrition there between our partners and the board. And that's what happened. And of course, you know, there's also high turnover. When you see high turnover of coaches,
you've a record, 10 coaches.
Yeah, that's 10 years. In fact, I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, count then,
10 in 10.
Yes.
Not 10 out of 10. What we want to aim for is to get back. So that's what under the bridge. Today afternoon, I had a meeting with SportPesa. SportPesa have said they're with us. I shared with them a budget of what it will take to get Kenya back, to get into the Olympics first, to get back into the World Sevens Series. And NOC also asked me for our budget. It's been prepared, we've sent it, and it's a big budget. You know?
Okay, so there are other people who are trying to get you back in there. But it's going to be the long route, because you have to now fund yourselves to get in there. Let's look at the challenges. There is once when the Kenyan team had to black out a sponsor from the jerseys in protest. Had the rain started beating us at that time?
Yeah, that happened, and it was unfortunate, and people blame the players, but I'll take a different take and say it was the union, because money had been sent that time. It was Magical Kenya, and money had been sent to the union, but the union had apparently an overdraft. So when the money hit there, it went. It didn't go to the players.
Like a fuliza.
But last year.
So that happened. But people blame the players. Players, yes. Blame has to be shared, but not purely on players.
Were not paid.
That time the players were not paid, and of course they protested because they were given false promises.
Okay.
So the problem is, managing expectations. When the players go out there and they expect the money to hit their accounts, and it doesn't, and they were promised. And so when you break promises, that's a problem.
So that became part of the problem. Then now there was also technical issues. We talked to Innocent Simiyu a couple of months back when he was there for a brief stint. He wasn't very happy even about his own exit. And he didn't say it, but we could read in between that he was forced out for one reason or the other. Was there a push and pull within the technical unit?
That time, I can't tell. I was not in office.
But you know,
you are speculation. I'm a rugby guy, but of course, there's always the siasa behind it.
Okay, so there was politics behind it.
There's politics. There's been a lot of politics, and I'm saying right now, the politics is over. We're in office now for 4 years. We have run this game before successfully. So we're not newbies to this. We know what needs to be done. We want to get back the confidence of our partners, our previous partners and new ones coming in. We have support also from the Kenya government that has been helpful. We've not had sponsors. You can even see the 15th team. I mean, we're now playing in Currie Cup, but now we are struggling to play the last 2 games. We have a big, we want to qualify for 2027 Rugby World Cup. But we need support to come in. We have a good tax law in Kenya that, if you put money into sports sponsorships, you can expense it. We have co-opted new directors onto the board.
Because we tried to simplify it some time back and people did not understand it. When you put money in sports, what does it mean? You're not going to pay tax on it, basically.
No, if you put 50 million, a company puts 50 million into a team. The federation has to do the paperwork. It has to be,
just to prove that
it's been done.
Yes.
And also the Minister of Sports has to now give that letter, and it goes now to Treasury, KRA. And for a company, if you can expense that as a proper expense, and now you get the benefits of sponsorship. There's, the
Chairman,
the things on the shirt and everything else.
I think the easier thing to get here is the sponsors and all, because one, you come into the office with a lot of goodwill. Okay, I think whoever was there before you probably wasn't doing such a good job, and everyone is now believing in you. But the most important thing, and very critical and crucial, is the tactics, the technical aspect of the game, the players. What are we going to do with the players? Because they also must up their game, remember. They've not lost because the office was bad. Even they lost because,
So they didn't have the high performance environment. You remember now when in 2012, 2013, we had, when we brought in Mike Friday, we had a very big budget. Technically, we had a very good technical unit. Those players had come through from 2004 all the way that, it was pretty amateur. But when we got the funding, the players were getting good money. There was big bonuses, and we had the technical. Everything was analyzed. We were at par with England and the rest. We had a $2 million budget, okay? So even today, we talked to Sport Pesa and said, our budget right now, minimum, to get into the Olympics and to get back to World 7 Series, right now is about 181 million shillings, okay? So we need support from Sport Pesa, our current sponsor. We need other partners to come in, government, and we have shown them what it takes, to be at par with the rest of the teams. If you look at what's been happening in the Kenya Sevens team this past season, they were training before at Peponi, so the bus would have to pick up the players, take 2 hours to get to Peponi, they train there, and then they go back, they're dropped on the way. Other teams, they're in residential camp and all that. When we came into office, we managed to talk to the Ministry of Sport. In fact, even 2 weeks before we came in, the PS at that time gave us residential training, and that was covered by government. So the team, for the first time since the Commonwealth Games, were in residential training, and they were concentrating. So you can see a bit of the game improved. This last time, same thing happened. The players were in Kasarani in camp, and that helps a lot. So the training environment, you have to give them a high performance environment. Other teams, if you look at South Africa in Stellenbosch, they stay there. They've got nutrition, analysts, everything is there. They're focused on the game. They've got good salaries. We are yet to get there, but we were there before. So we regressed. That's a fact. And now we are saying is, we are now in office here. We have done this before. We want to get back the goodwill of our partners. Invest in us. Your return on investment as a partner, as a sponsor, I mean, it's the best thing to do
what's
right
the
now.
plan? Can you outline it for us?
So
because we know what the losses are. We know you're going to lose. You lost the Sportpesa sponsorship. Now you're talking to them.
Sportpesa, we haven't lost it. They said
you're going to lose
the
funding from the World Rugby. That one is lost.
High performance.
There's going to be reduced exposure and development. Of course, there'll be lack of players' exposure as well in all that. There's going to be a trickle-down effect on that. That means the game will... the standard will come down.
So what will happen? We have been invited to New York City Sevens, which is a new tournament in July. $1 million prize money, top 8 teams in the world. We're not top 8 right now.
But you're there.
But we are one of the 8 because of what we bring to the table. Kenya is exciting on the pitch and off the pitch. If you look at if you look at our fans who come in, we have more than 5,000, 6,000 in the US.
Party atmosphere that we
so I mean, we as a brand. We are an international brand.
How you've packaged yourself.
Yes, so Kenya we have a story, a beautiful story. We have not been playing too beautiful rugby, and we want to get back to that. So we've been invited to New York City Sevens. We hope by that time we have got 6 weeks to become more competitive than we are, get some good money. We have sent out our budgets to get Kenya back into World Sevens series, including qualifying for the Olympics. So there's the Africa Cup in September in Zimbabwe.
Is that the qualifier for the Olympics?
So that is the qualifier. And then second and third over there have another opportunity at the repechage next year. But we want to go in outrightly, prepare ourselves, get our money. The money will be used properly. I can assure.
So are you planning to win this New York City?
Yeah, I'll be realistic. We will do well. But I'm planning for Kenya to win.
In terms of payment for everybody.
Miracles don't happen. Rugby takes investment. You have to work hard. Nothing comes from nothing.
Yes. Tell me something. There is consistent talk about strength and conditioning for the Kenyan team. How important is it? Why is it not there?
It is there. Strength and conditioning is there. We have Coach Kimani who is there, and he was there before, and he came back. There was also the politics where he was removed. He went to Uganda
because he was not paid some money.
And he went to Uganda, and now he's also with the
This is what is worrying me as well.
Yeah.
Now that you've mentioned Uganda, some of the top rugby players and coaches currently are coaching other countries. Where does Dennis Mwanja coach?
Yeah, Kenya is actually in Madagascar.
He's with the team in
Madagascar. With the women's team, and I'm going there tomorrow to support them.
Okay. Yeah. But the Kenyan qualified coaches are now coaching in other places, in other countries, because of lack of opportunities here. This has happened in cricket as well, where our cricket players, the best, are in Uganda, Tanzania. Now Tanzania is beating Kenya in cricket. Now Uganda is beating Kenya in rugby and all that, because they are learning from the best.
Yeah, that's ending.
What Uganda
will not beat. Uganda never beat Kenya. When I'm in charge, it won't happen.
That's the Migingo
So we want to beat South Africa in September, and we have our program to do it. We have already come up with the budgets this week. We know what has to be done. We have to invest in it. There's this, it's even on my WhatsApp thing, ex nihilo nihil fit. Out of nothing comes nothing. You cannot put nothing and expect something to come out of it. Yeah. So the investment has to happen. And that is what we are appealing, and Sportpesa have said with us on the long haul. National Olympic Committee asked us for a budget, we've sent it, because this is a national issue.
Sasha,
Kenya and the pride of the Sevens has to come back.
We've seen in other countries, developed countries like South Africa, like England, like France and all that, they have a franchise kind of rugby. They don't just play rugby, I mean, for the sake of clubs and an old boys association and all that. It's commercialized. You've got franchises.
Yes. So we are going to introduce that. That was part of my manifesto, to bring back a super series, which will be a professional league of 6 teams that we want to be in 6 cities in Kenya, from Mombasa, Nairobi, Nakuru, Kisumu, Kakamega, Eldoret, 6, and then and those will have the 210 top players in Kenya, chosen from the clubs. So we'll do a franchise system and a roster system, such like in American football, so that you spread the talent around. And these players will be paid. We're going to do the business plan and go and look for investors, because now this is from private investment that will come in. It won't be politicians or anything. It will be private investment. We will look at partnering also with counties. What countries can do is provide us with the land to build the infrastructure.
Sasha,
my plan is also to build a stadium for Kenya Rugby. Yeah. Kenya Rugby does not have a stadium. Our fixed assets, as you've heard before, only 15 million shillings worth. Kenya Rugby are subtenants in RFUA, so we don't have our own land, and we're appealing now to the government to give us the land in Kasarani so that we can develop our stadium, purpose-made rugby football stadium, and to have the partners come in, we build this thing together as a quantity surveyor and a professional.
Before Ken even ask you the question, how early, because that's what Kenyans are asking themselves, how early can we get back to the rugby sevens? You know, there's that part of our pride as well. If for anything else, everything else can go wrong. But when we see ourselves there, the Kenyans are like, that's us.
With our plans, if well executed and we get the funding, we are back next year because we plan to enter the Olympics, to get into the Olympics as Africa's qualifier, straight up and not as second. We want to beat South Africa.
So how many qualify from Africa?
There'll be two. There'll be repechage. There's one automatic, then there's a repechage to go play others, other teams out there.
Another playoff.
So Africa has one, and we want to be Africa's.
We want to be the ones.
Yeah. But that comes with funding.
Talking to some technical people as well, Sasha. This is the truth, and it's not just rugby, but there is a concession that the country's technical ways of playing sport is a little bit archaic, even in volleyball, even in cricket, and even in rugby, that we've got to adapt to the new ways of playing the game to be able to be up there.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah. What's your comment on this? Because the previous game of rugby, of sevens, was give me the ball and I will run. But now we see Fiji just moving the ball around, casually enjoying themselves, and suddenly they bust out and they make the try.
And you see, again, when we did well, a few games that we played and we won, you could see the flair of that came back. We need to enjoy the game. You know, when you enjoy your rugby, you win.
So what's going on?
I can see the players really. I've talked to them. I'm very close to the players. I hear, I've got an open door policy. I hear things. So they're not really enjoying the game. You can see it. But things will change. We'll be back in. I can assure you, once we get our funding in,
they're not really enjoying the game. I mean, how can they win when they're not enjoying the game?
They can win.
Why are they not enjoying it?
Listen, you know, in South Africa, they start their rugby at the bottom. Okay, they start with 7-year-olds, they start with 10-year-olds, they start with 15-year-olds. By the time that guy is 19 years old, he's ready to be the champion, winner, whatever it is. He's ready. If we are going to rely on these guys who are 20-year-old plus, we are starting to teach rugby, we wouldn't move forward as a country.
Absolutely not.
What plans do you have those kind of plans?
Our plan is there to get rugby in primary schools and to get it in the curriculum as a core sport. That is on our agenda, and that we're also discussing now with the Ministry of Education.
Government has to come in.
Government has to come in because you have to go through the schools. We're also looking at making sure that we have private and public schools coming together. If you can see what's been happening, private schools have their own league, public schools on their own. We also need to have Kenya schools national team. That's not happened since we were playing in the 90s. And that is part of my agenda.
Is this a real crisis? Is it really that bad?
You know, it's the investment has not been there. But what they are saying is, okay.
But we are not facing a situation where the players are aging together and there's a gap in between.
So
I'm afraid that is
no. So players are coming in. We are churning out players. There are more people and there are more kids playing rugby now. It's all over the country. Rugby is being played. Very very good quality in secondary school mostly. But you see, there's that transition. I heard you talking earlier about the transition. So we have the Moran side, which is supposed to be the understudy for the Shujas. But there's no budget for that. So even today we are talking with SportPesa, and they said, for us also, when we come in, we need to sustain and start winning. Not go up and come down, again be relegated. We need to be top 5. That is the ambition, and to start winning again, coming back to winning ways. So we have to, the player transition. We need to get the players who have retired back into
giving advice,
coming in as coaches.
You talked about reconstituting the board as well. I mean, it's good you're talking about the older players coming in, even to help, even at the board level, or even at the voluntary level. How crucial is the board to the success of the team? And who have you put in the board anyway?
Yeah, it's very important. As I say, the talent on the pitch has to be match the talent on the board.
Leadership.
Very important. If it's not happening at the top, it's not going to happen at the bottom. The job of the board, policy and getting in funding, the players, once you have everything aligned, you bring in the finances, the talent is there. Kenya has a lot of talent. Just dropping off the trick, everywhere you go, there's talent. So I'm not afraid that we want to make it.
Who's
because
on the board?
So we have the elected.
How important in that role they are in?
Yeah. So we have even co-opted 4 new directors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have Cairo Thuo, who is a renowned tax and legal advisor. We have Nisha Van Hoek in PR. Okay. Wanjiko Wairia, who we've brought in, and she was also a nutritionist in 2009 at the World Cup with us. And Alice Zawadi also representing referees. So we actually have 4 women on the board. Close to 30% of the board is women. So that's a new look also for Kenya Rugby.
That's good.
And they bring different skills apart from the 10 elected directors who are rugby people, but also there's lawyers, we have educationists. But now we have brought in professionals. You know, we actually looked at the board and said, what don't we have on this board? What would we have to improve? You know, we don't have somebody in PR, we brought somebody in PR. Tax, whatever, we have our treasurer, but we got in a top legal and tax guy to come in and help us and exploit the sports tax benefits. So that we're going to push. So what we are saying to sponsors and partners out there is we're open for business. Invest in rugby. It's going to give you the best return on investment because we are going back to the sponsors already know. Today I had to move from one meeting for work to go to SportPesa and back. Excellent. And I just left a meeting to come here and talk to you, Bernard.
These are very big promises, and for a country that loves the sport of sevens rugby and who have won a leg of the rugby sevens, the Singapore sevens, which was big. There's a lot of expectations also of you. Plus the fact that the other office was challenged in terms of the legality of being in office, and that was overturned, and now you have come in. There is a lot of expectation on you.
There's been a lot of litigation and whatever, and I said, we have to stop playing rugby in the courtrooms and play on the pitches. That's what has to happen, and that's now happening. We have a lot of goodwill. People are now talking to us, and it shall soon be well. So just be patient.
We hope for the best.
Things will be happening.
We hope for the best. Then let's look at what is happening over the weekend, just so that Sasha can know as well. I know he's going to be off to Madagascar to see what's going on there, but there's a couple of things that will be happening over the weekend as well here in Kenya and outside. Ken, you have some of them, don't you?
Yes, I do, Bernard. And I start with EPL.
The English Premier League. Well,
sorry, the KPL.
No, sorry. If you want to start with the EPL, let me start with the KPL. So all teams will be playing.
So all matches are being played on Sunday, save for the one that's going on right now, which is at halftime. Manchester United was hosting Chelsea, and they are leading 2-0.
Okay. Here we've got the FKF Premier League that is coming up fast.
So tomorrow there is this very interesting Forces derby. You see, Ulinzi versus Police.
Yes.
I haven't seen so much banter. I'm sure by the time we get out of here, we're going to see a lot of it
about each other, but we'll see who's arresting who.
They normally have stories about each other. And then on Saturday,
that's tomorrow
at 3 o'clock at Ulinzi Complex. And then on Saturday, we have that's Posta Rangers, Sofapaka.
So we've got about 4 rounds remaining here. Do you think Mathare will survive relegation? They're playing KCB, who at one point were being thought of to be contenders for the
title. Yes, I think Mathare will survive. Those guys have got 12 lives, not 9.
Okay, but what position are they on the log at the moment? Because that's the important thing. And how many points do they have?
I'll tell you that in a moment.
That's the difficulty here. Here are the other matches. Now, the one you have to look for is Tusker versus Gor Mahia. That's on Sunday. That's because they're separated by just 1 point. And now, this will determine again where this goes as well. To the wire, totally to the wire. So
Tusker is leading by a point.
1 point.
And whoever wins this has a big head start. Because remember, if Tusker win, they have now 4 points ahead.
Yes.
If God win, they'll be 2 points ahead of Tusker.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of
mathematical probability. Kakamega Homeboys here are also hoping that they can finish somewhere up there at on top of the log.
Yes, they're playing at Talanta. Remember, Homeboys pushed all the way last season, the league that was nullified, they didn't get it eventually.
Absolutely.
This year, they've been a little bit of a disappointment, but at least they have the FKF Cup final.
They're still gunning up there for probably a top 4 finish somewhere in there. And then Leopards versus City Stars.
Monday is Leopards showing their claws against the City Stars.
Okay.
To wrap up that particular.
Well, there's still about 4 rounds remaining in the Kenyan Premier League. So again, you can only know where it is going to the wire depending on what happens this weekend to be able to talk about it. But
exactly.
Apart from that, there is also what is going on in the English Premier League as well. We've said actually everybody's playing over the weekend, so that's gone now. The CAF Champions League, there is the first leg. Yanga is playing Union Sportive de la Medina de Alger. That's what it is, USM Algiers. This is going to be in Dar es Salaam. And then there is the Wanda Diamond League in Rabat in Morocco. Yes, I told you Omanyala is going there.
That's on Sunday.
Yes.
Omanyala told us he's going there and he's going there. He's going for nothing else other than a victory.
And you know now that wind-assisted thing is ending at Kasarani at the Kipkeno Classic. It was actually a negative.
And they have the equipment there, so there's no more possibilities.
So you have another world leading time. We're hoping for another world leading time for Omanyala over there as well. There's also the
Formula One.
Yeah, after Formula One was cancelled last
weekend
because of flooding in northern Italy. It was expected to continue. So are you a Formula One fan? Yes. You do, eh? Yeah. Who are you with?
Who's your
Ferrari.
You're a Ferrarista.
Ferrari, Arsenal, all the reds. And Kenya, everything red.
Yeah, there's a neighbor of mine who once put a horse in his red car, and he had been told that if you see a man with a horse in the red car, most likely it's a Ferrari. But he wasn't going anywhere. It had no wheels. So I hope it's not that kind of Ferrarista that you are. All right, so Sasha, what's the last word then you can give to us, because we are closing down the program now?
I'm just saying, with all the talent that we have, and now we are ready to change things. We know mistakes have been made. It's time for it's a new dawn, and we're back to winning ways.
Are we in good hands?
We're in good hands. Don't worry. We'll soon be happy.
All right. The president of Kenyan Rugby, Alexander Sasha Butai, promising us that everything is okay and we can only give him the goodwill. That's it. Just the goodwill, so that everything...
And some money.
And that's what I'm saying. So that's what I was going to. So if he knocks at your door, he's opens the door on your wallet. Let's get back to where we were before. Again, thank you very much for having graced this occasion.
Thank you very much.
About Kenyan Rugby. We wish you all the best, sincerely.
Okay.
And Ken, thank you very much as well. And we've got to end it there. I see your tweets, but now we've run out of time. I can't read them all. It's just saying that, we just need them to be given some new goodwill to be able to do what they want to do. John says, look, give them the money, pay them, and they will perform. You can't perform without money.